Hello everyone, Darko 2012 here with Global Government News, and I'm reading an article by Paul Joseph Watson that was posted on the 28th of January 2010, and it's titled, Authorities Quietly Reverse Underwear Bomber Official Story. Authorities have quietly reversed the official story behind the Christmas Day underwear bomber attack and acknowledged that an accomplice was involved. Despite weeks of denial and derision of eyewitness Kurt Haskell's description of a sharp-dressed man who helped Umar Faraq Abdul Muttalib board Flight 253 in Amsterdam. Buried in the last two paragraphs of a story about alleged female suicide bomber coming from Yemen, an ABC News report contains the following bombshell. Quote, federal agents also tell ABCnews.com that they are attempting to identify a man who passengers said helped Abdul Muttalib change planes for Detroit when he landed in Amsterdam from Lagos, Nigeria. Another quote is, authorities had initially discounted the passengers' accounts, but the agents say there is a growing belief that the man may have played a role to make sure Abdul Muttalib, quote, did not get cold feet. Detroit lawyer Kurt Haskell maintained from the beginning that he saw a well-dressed Indian man aid the accused bomber to board the plane despite the fact that he had no passport and was on a terror watch list. While Muttalib was poorly dressed, his friend was dressed in an expensive suit, Haskell said. He says the man asked ticket agents whether Muttalib could board without a passport, and the guy said, he's from Sudan, and we do this all the time, reported the Michigan Live News website. FBI agents interviewed Haskell, and he told them about the sharp-dressed man, but officials refused to admit that a wider conspiracy was at hand, stoically maintaining the official story that Abdul Muttalib had acted alone. Authorities claim that the videotapes did not show a second man accompanying Abdul Muttalib, and yet they refused to release any footage of the alleged bomber. Why is this not total breaking news? Asked Haskell's wife on their family blog. Quote, I think we know why the video is not being released, because it shows what Kurt said. I mean, where is his apology? Where? They come out in the media basically calling Kurt a liar, then they take it back. But it is in the bottom of another non-related article. Ridiculous. And still, to date, no authorities contacting Kurt to ask him to look at the freaking video and help identify the guy. It's so insane to me. We have an eyewitness to this and they just don't care. There seems to be little doubt that Abdul Muttalib had at least one accomplice, if not more. Authorities have remained silent on other eyewitness reports which described a man intently filming the alleged terrorist throughout the whole flight, a connection that strongly suggests the attempted bomber was involved in some kind of drill and that his strings were being pulled by people in more senior positions. In addition, Flight 253 passengers reported seeing a third man connected to the incident being handcuffed by FBI agents after sniffer dogs found something suspect in his luggage. After initially denying any knowledge of this individual, authorities were forced to acknowledge his existence, but claimed he had nothing to do with the attempted attack, completely contradicting multiple eyewitness accounts that the passengers were moved from a waiting area after it was made clear to them that the bomb had not been found, or had been found. And there was a person that eyewitnesses that were actually on the plane while the underwear bomber, his little fake, contraption bomb that was most likely never really intended to go off and blow the plane up, because I believe he's a Patsy. There was someone that was seen taking videotaping or recording the underwear bomber before the whole little contraption went off. So someone was videotaping him, and that's kind of my belief right now, is that the third person would be that person that was videotaping him, or was a handler. And a handler plays a role when you're talking about mind control. And patsies and suicide people like Fort Hood, they have handlers. The fact that Abdul Muttalib's accomplices were all described as being Indian in appearance would contradict the story that has been spun around the issue in an effort to sell the public on the naked body scanners in airports, as well as a deeper U.S. military involvement in Yemen. The ludicrous spectacle of a long-deceased boogeyman, Osama bin Laden, apparently claiming responsibility for the attempted attack this past week, only confirmed that a fairy tale was being contrived, which was totally at odds of what eyewitnesses described. Now that Haskell's eyewitnesses account has been vindicated, it remains to be seen whether evidence of a wider conspiracy will be investigated or buried. There seems to be little doubt that the latter will be the case if Abdul Muttalib's accomplices don't conveniently lead back to Al-Qaeda's Patsies the establishment has already framed for the attack. And so, see, it's almost a common thing now, but common belief now in this truth movement, in this information war, that he was a patsy. He was definitely under the influence of some kind of sedative or some kind of drug, and they said that he looked like all just really out of it. So he was either under serious mind control, drugged up, or both. And that's kind of my belief. So I think the videotape that would come out of Denmark, or I'm sorry, Amsterdam, would be very helpful in this case. But of course, it never came out, and that's what this person was saying when it first happened. You know, I believe he was a lawyer. He's a credible person, and they were trying to play him like he was stupid. So eventually, this may come out. But I think this is a wider conspiracy that leads back to Yemen. It's all about Yemen, and just recently. Okay, so you had the Christmas bomber, which was obviously Christmas, the 25th, and here Christmas Eve, this article was posted by Reuters, which makes the connection between the Fort Hood shooter and Yemen. It says Yemen says Fort Hood linked Ayman may be dead. A Yemeni air raid may have killed the top two leaders of Al-Qaeda's regional branch on Thursday. An American Muslim preacher linked to the man who shot 13 people at the U.S. Army base may have also died. And then here on January 15th, you have this article by the Daily Star titled, Yemen declares war with Al-Qaeda, urges public help. So see, what I'm getting at here is, you know, I think Al-Qaeda, or I know, or it's my belief, and you can challenge that if you want, that Al-Qaeda is nothing more than a network that is set up. They're like hired mercenaries that are paid to go wherever the establishment wants them to go, wherever the global elites want them to go. So if they want to go into Yemen, they get a patsy, they drug them up, and then they have them board a plane with a crappy explosive device that's not ever meant to go off, because they don't really need to blow up a plane in order to be able to go into Yemen. So if they want to go somewhere, if they really need to do it, they'll have a false flag terrorist attack, and then they'll say, oh, it was Al-Qaeda, and it's Al-Qaeda in Yemen. So now we have full grounds to go to Yemen, because right now the Yemeni government isn't going to be able to take on Al-Qaeda, even if they were real. So it just justifies us for being there. And of course you have here, oh, look at this, December 20th, 2009, Chinese warships dock home from Gulf of Aden, which, you know, the Chinese don't usually do. Then you got the EU Navor over there in the Gulf of Aden, December 31st, 2009. Oh, look at this. We even got the Russians. Russians warship to start new escort in Gulf of Aden Tuesday, January 4th, 2010. Here we go. January 29th, 2010, Iran to send 5th Fleet of warships to Gulf of Aden. Oh, look at this. Royal Navy flotilla withdrawn to cut costs weeks before the Haiti disaster, and this was January 20th, 2010, and they withdrew what? They withdrew these nice little helicopters and landing pads. And then here we go. What came in its place? This little thing. Royal Navy auxiliary ship to deploy for Haiti. So they replaced it with this. A little ferry boat. So they took the warships and moved them to the Gulf of Aden. So what is my point? My point is this. If there is something going down in the Gulf of Aden, and it ain't fucking pirates. Excuse my French. It ain't pirates, alright? They got the Chinese, the Russians, the UK have everything in this Gulf of Aden. Something's going down there, and it ain't Al-Qaeda, alright? Because